Hey, this is Shaoshan the Infernal General here again, coming at you with another Madolche deck profile. This one's a little bit different from the last one, as the last one was a bit more budget friendly. I managed to get some really nice deals on some cards that are really good for my deck, so I decided to pick them up and throw them in. The other deck that I have up is still perfectly useful. You can go for it, but honestly, you will have more luck with this deck here. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into this right now. First off, of course, we play the 3 Madolche Madeline. She's your searcher, pretty much the best opener, except maybe for Madolche Angeli, which we also play 3 of. You just pop her, special summon any Madolche from your deck, which a lot of times will be Madolche Petting Sessor, which of course we play 3 of because she's broken. Special summon her from your hand if there's no monsters in your grave. Whenever she's special summoned, she can special summon a Madolche monster from your deck one level lower than it is. And one thing to keep in mind here is that it is whenever she is special summoned. So if you special summon her by popping your Angeli, you do get the effect. Just like you will also get your effect if you special summon her by way of Madolche Hootcake. Banish a monster from your graveyard, special summon any Madolche from your deck, Petting Sessor, and then you get her effect. You might actually bump this up to 3 eventually, but I'm still liking 2 for the time being, especially when we get into some cards later on in the deck. Then, of course, we play 2 Madolche Messengelato. Still always run the 2. The combos you can come off with 2 gelato as opposed to 1 or even 3 is absolutely insane, and you don't have to worry about bricking so much when you have 2 of them. Of course, we play the 1 copy of Madolche Pudding Sis because she does the awesome combos with Madolche Petting Sessor. Next, well, that is all for the Madolche monsters. We're going to go on to the rest of the monsters here. Of course, I still play the Cyframe Gamma engine with 3 gammas and a driver. I have a way to work with these gammas a little better now if I've already used one. So, negate monster effects and special summon the driver. It works really well since I like to go second. I cut down raw sphere mode down to 2. I can draw into it a little bit easier now, and I found that at 3 it could be a little bricky sometimes. So I think 2 is a really good number. I may still decide to go back, to be honest. This is a big reason that I've changed a few things. Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. This card is awesome. He has a secondary effect to protect things from targeting, but his first effect is awesome. If your opponent link summons a monster, special summon this guy out to the field. You get to draw cards equal to the number of link monsters they control, +1. And then you shuffle cards from your hand back into your deck equal to the number of link monsters they control. So if they have 1 link monster out on the field, when they summon him, you special summon this guy out, draw 2 cards, shuffle 1 card from your hand back into your deck, which works really well for things like Madolche Messengelato, who you don't really want in your deck so much. Depending on what you're playing against, you might even shuffle back a sphere mode, just whatever you feel is better off in your deck. I haven't really had any issues with deciding too much. That is it for the monster engine. Next, I have my spells. There's still 2 Madolche Chateau. I really just like having 2 of them. I've considered cutting it down to 1, but I think 2 works perfectly fine. I did wind up cutting my Madolche Salon down to 2. Again, it's because I have more draw power now, and I felt like the 3rd one really wasn't necessary anymore. And the more I played with 3, the more it felt like it was bricking a little bit too much for me. So, yeah. Then I still play the 1 copy of Madolche Ticket. I do think that this is like the least useful of the Madolche cards, but I still have found some use for it, so I do still play the 1 copy. For the rest of my spells, I do play 1 Called by the Grave. I have to play it. Fortunately, it's still at 1, of course. 1 Cosmic Cyclone, just to deal with some back row. And no more back row hate. It's my one Harpy's Feather Duster. I just don't want to be caught not having any answers for back row, because the decks still are out there, even if they aren't used as much. Cut down Dark Ruler no more, back down to 2. This is something I might consider bumping back up to 3. I do think it might be perfectly fine at 2, though. And then the big addition to the spell lineup, 3 Pot of Extravagance. I haven't really had any issues using this card. Usually it either helps me extend, or it helps me just, it helps me get into my starters sometimes even. And the banishing 6 random cards from my extra deck doesn't really harm me very often, because I do play so many Madolche extra deck monsters. Next, we have the 1 Madolche Promenade. I still play this at 1. It's very easy to shuffle it back into your deck, even on your opponent's turn, and you can even wind out resetting it after you've already used it on your opponent's turn. You won't be able to play it that turn, but, it still comes up sometimes, and I still like the second effect where you banish it from your graveyard, put a pudding cess under something so you can do more combos, or anything you really need to work with. So both the effects are great. And the last 3 cards, which are also a new addition to the deck, are my 3 Infinite Impermanence. These were the cards I found a really sweet deal on, and so of course I had to grab them. I run 3 because I really do want that effect negation, but it's so much better being able to do it as a trap card so that you don't shut off your Madolche Petting Sword plays. So yes, 3 Impermanence. On to the extra deck. I do run 3 Glass Souffle still. I do still run 3 Tiramisu. Do still run 3 Chocolate Mode. I do all these at 3 because I don't want any of them ever to all be banished. I did have one single time in my use with Pot of Extravagance where all 3 of my Tiramisus got banished at one time. Still managed to work around it, but it is kind of frustrating when you can't just shuffle back your opponent's board. Still play 2 Sistart because I don't really feel that she's as necessary as the other 3 Madolches, but I still like to have her, and I would prefer her not to get banished. It's just, of all the Madolche's extra deck monsters, if any of them are all going to get banished, I'd rather it be Sistart. I do still play the 1 Cowboy just for time. I do play the 1 Masquerena. Never really comes up, but she's there. 1 Unicorn. Every once in a while I will make this guy, but it's also very rare. Apollosa, I still haven't yet to really make her, but I like that she's still here because I can imagine this coming out one day, and I don't want to be sitting there one day like, wow, I wish I had Apollosa to play now. So that does it for the main deck and the extra deck. Now I'm going to go on to the side deck, which is missing 2 cards that I want to play. I just have to get my hands on them. I will tell you about them when I get there. 1 Pankratops, because there are times when I feel like I will be able to use him. 2 Gamisio. Sometimes you might get into a matchup and your sphere mode just isn't going to work because your opponent doesn't summon that many monsters, so just throw a sea turtle on top of it and that helps. I do still have the 1 extra sphere mode in the side deck. Since I may consider bumping it back up to 3, I don't know if I would ever actually side the 3rd one in, but I could see it happening. I do side the other Dark Ruler no more. Again, partially it's because I'm not entirely sure I'm going to keep it at 2 in the main deck, but I can see that there may be situations, certain duels, where having the 3rd Dark Ruler would be better than not having it. I do side 2 Cosmic Cyclones instead of just 1 now. Decided to take 1 out of the main deck, again, because I could draw a little bit more now. But if I am running into something that really plays a lot of back row, I want to be able to put these in. Do play the 1 Raigeki in the side deck still. I don't really care to have it in the main deck because I have ways to deal with things already, and a lot of what Raigeki does these days is just bait out cards. So he's still here, but it's not necessarily essential when you're playing against the big boys right now. I do still have triple anti-spell fragrance in the sideboard just in case I need it. I mean, just imagine you playing against something like Sky Striker and you set up your normal Madolche combo, set this thing down, then flip it up on your next turn, and it hurts. It will hurt. I do still have the one red reboot just in case I feel I need it for a certain matchup. And 3 Solemn Judgment. This is mostly for if I'm going first. I always side this in when I go first because, yeah, running triple Solemn Judgment, triple Impermanence, having a chance to set up my combo, and then just setting a Judgment, Promenade, and Impermanence behind it is pretty nasty. Alright. So that does it for the new Madolche deck profile. The other card that I am missing at the moment is my Nibiru's. I do have 2. I'm waiting for my friend to get them to me. And once I get those, I'm going to have to figure out what exactly I want to take out. Probably of my sideboard to deal with, put in Nibiru. I'm thinking it'll probably be something like Raigeki. And maybe Red Reboot, to be honest, because I never really find myself siding in Red Reboot. But I don't know yet. I'll figure it out, because I do want to have access to Nibiru's. Alright, so again, that is the new Madolche deck profile. You can still look at the other one if you want to see more budget-friendly options. There are other things that you could consider running in the deck, like I might even consider picking up some Book of Eclipses. I like Dino players like to play Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, so I could see siding in Book of Eclipse if I'm going first, setting it so that I can disrupt my opponent's link plays and things like that. So that is something to consider, and I probably will wind up picking that up, to be honest. But anyways, that's the Madolche deck profile. I hope you enjoy it. I do plan on coming out with different deck profiles, probably in the near future. I have some ABCs and such. But that'll be it for now, and thank you again for watching.